Hey, y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we're going to recap the last three Derby preps, the Bluegrass Stakes, the Santa Anita Derby, and the Wood Memorial. So let's take a look at them and see what happened. First one we're going to look at is the Bluegrass Stakes from Keeneland on Saturday. And you can see it was a nice day, so it was a good day for racing, and let's see what happened. And you see it was a pretty level break.
There goes Clear the Air, verifying major.
Little surprised Clear the Air was up on the lead quite so quickly, but he didn't figure to matter much, so it really wasn't a big deal. Sun Thunder was a little farther back than I perhaps anticipated, and it's clear that he just doesn't have any interest in getting up near the pace. I think that's going to hurt him. Major Blue, we thought would be up on the engine. And I kind of liked his chances. He was on the upturn, and at 50-1, why not? And you can see he rated pretty well there for a little while. Classic Car Wash was up closer to the pace than expected, and there was that wise guy horse Mendelssohn's March, who everybody was kind of talking up a little bit as a possible upsetter. You see, Tapit Trice broke well. Handled the kickback pretty well, and then made the move early to get up near the pace, and I was really impressed with that. Clearly, they've worked out a lot of the problems he had, and you see he's just waiting, biding his time. Blazing Sevens was obviously shadowing him, and you see him coming up as well. And here's about where the real running started. Now, at this point, the nicest part about this is now it's just a question of who's faster, because you've got Tapit Trice verifying and really nobody else factoring. You see Sun Thunder, they were out on him hard to get him up, but he closed mildly. And Blazing Sevens kind of flattened out a little bit, and here we have the duel. And you see Tapit Trice, he finally got it together. Now, you see the head cock to the right there? I think it still says he's a little capable of distraction. He looked like he was looking in the stands a little bit, but obviously a really impressive effort by Tapit Trice, and I think he stamped his ticket for the Derby for sure. Next one we're going to look at is the Santa Anita Derby, and you got a field of 9, and pretty much it was a big disappointment that Go Rocket Ride scratched. Apparently he's running at temperature, and boy, Dick Mandela just never has any luck with his Derby hopefuls. Omaha Beach a couple of years ago was pretty much the same thing. So we lost some early speed in the race, and so really it just came down to, in my view, it was National Treasure and Practical Move, and that's what I thought it would be at the start. But let's see what actually happened. See a good break. Practical Move was swerving a little bit there, but it didn't affect anything. There's our friend Low Expectations getting out to the lead. And you see National Treasure routed. 1 in Vermilion we kind of thought would go to the engine. Yeah, you see Low Expectations getting carried wide as well as National Treasure. There's Practical Move once again saving ground. Right where he needs to be, and Mandarin Hero, looks pretty keen to go on there. And you see Skinner was making an effort to be up a little further than he had been in the last race, and I think that was a good thing for his for the race and for his chances. We can continue to get more engaged early. So you see they're just biding their time. There goes Practical Move. He's decided he's had enough pretty much, so he's just going to get into position. But fractions were a little quick, and you see Low Expectations. They're hard riding him already to keep up. So right there, you had to believe Practical Move was in perfect shape, that he had the edge. He was ahead of the field, but here comes Mandarin Hero and Skinner with a really big move on the outside and a little early. But I think tactically that made some sense. And then at this point, he's got all the momentum. And you see Practical Move's jockey look over and say, I guess I better get in gear. And there's Mandarin Hero. Just ran a monster race, given what his running lines look like. I mean, he really outdid expectations. And National Treasure, he just got going late. he had a little traffic there, and he really didn't re-rally from it, and that's kind of that's pretty much the MO for him, is that he just didn't seem to have a lot of heart. So, but anyway, Practical Move got the job done, but Mandarin Hero and Skinner probably ran a little bit better races as they had a little more to do. And the last race we're going to look at is the Wood Memorial, which was definitely the wildest of all the Derby preps, with a big field and a lot of crazy odds. And it was kind of real hard race to get a handle on, but let's see what they actually did.
All set. And they're off.
And then you see it was a pretty level break, and Hit Show didn't really get too compromised by the post position. You see, he was able to just drift over and get to where he wanted. Got carried a little wide, but I don't think that was too big a deal, really, in the long run. And you see, Lord Miles was keen early, and we hadn't seen that from him before. So definitely, that horse has definitely been progressing kind of under the radar. I think it was more the competition he'd been facing earlier, where it was kind of lost that he actually was getting a little better. At 59-1, obviously everybody overlooked that. So we got Arctic Arrogance, as we expected, up on the lead with Uncle Jake, and Dreamlike sitting chilly on a really good position. And really, Hit Show is pretty much where he needs to be, and just kind of waiting for Uncle Jake to die out, because he just wasn't fast enough. But Arctic Arrogance at this point is looking pretty good. The only thing is we know the distance limitations, so weren't really expecting him to hang on or to get the win. But you see, Hit Show was it took a little while to get him in gear. You see the jockeys all over him trying to get him motivated, and he's got some traffic issues. So at this point, you got to like Dreamlike's chances, and he's looking pretty good at this point. But there's that Lord Miles who just would not go away, and a little race riding there, some rubbing, but that didn't amount to much. But look at this, 3 to the wire, and and Lord Miles just had a little bit more, and hell of an effort on his part. 151 time was, I would consider, if you consider the Withers was 154, that's a big improvement. But it was a nice race to watch, and obviously 59-1 is always great if you had it. Good for you, but I don't think this was much of a field, really. The fact that you had 2 maidens in this race, I think, speaks a lot about that, and quite a few of them were glorified claimers. So. I don't know how much it told us. I don't think I'm going to be betting anybody from this race. Maybe Lord Miles if he trains really well, because he does look like he's on the upswing. I think Hit Show really, the fact that he wasn't compromised by the post position, I think it says that maybe he's not quite as good as we thought, and that this wasn't a great field. So if he was, I think he should have won this fairly handily. So there was a steward's objection, a couple of them actually, and it was really just more some race riding, and it really wasn't going to affect the outcome, and it didn't. So that's the Wood Memorial, and we'll see Lord Miles in the Derby now. So of the 3 preps, I'd have to say Tapit Trice was definitely the star, and anybody who's been a backer of his has got to be excited. They seem to have worked out all the problems that he had been having breaking from the gate. Showed some maturity in the fact that he was able to deal with kickback, which he hadn't really had to do before. And he was up closer to the pace, and he moved very well, and showed some closing kick and some tenacity to fight off Verifying for the win. So to me, he's the big star, and I think he stamped himself as a prime win candidate for the Derby for sure. His style, that running style, though, he still lopes a little bit, and I don't know how tactical he is, and that's really the only concern I have left with him. But other than that, he checked every box, and we'll see how he trains up to the Derby. Verifying ran a great race. I thought he would do that, and he just, his top end might not be there to win the Derby, but he showed a lot of grit and tenacity, and he ran a really nice race, and we'll see how he does for the Derby. I don't know. At Sun Thunder, I just think he's sort of tapped out. He is what he is. We know him now, and I don't know that he's going to do much more than maybe get up for third or fourth, like so many other horses in this Derby field. You're looking at you're trying your Superboy. It's awful hard to throw some horses out because we got a lot of late runners to work with. Blazing Sevens, he didn't run bad, but he flattened out, and I just think he was a little short. It seemed like, and maybe he just hasn't progressed from his 2-year-old form, but we don't have to worry about him now because I don't think he'll be in the field. The Santa Anita Derby, Practical Move showed a lot of tenacity, a lot of grit in overcoming a duel with Mandarin Hero that we really didn't expect. Skinner ran a nice race as well. I'm a little worried that he's flattening out in the stretch, so I think maybe he's plateauing a little bit. So I'm not as keen on him as perhaps I was before the San Felipe. Again, a late runner, though, so you have to think about him. Mandarin Hero, if he's on the Japanese JV, they must be pretty darn good. So I think it really... I don't know if he's going to get in the race, but if he does, I think we have to consider him as a factor. And it also makes Derma Sotogaki look awful good. So the Japanese contingent, I think, were the victors from the Santa Anita Derby. Practical Move, I'm starting to think when you see all the California shippers being subpar when they moved east, you got to wonder about the quality of the California crop, particularly National Treasure, who underscores that because he was disappointing and he had been one of the top Derby contenders at 2. So, he got a little traffic at the top of the stretch and he just didn't respond. He seemed to destroy his momentum. He got going a little bit late, but didn't show a lot of heart. And I'm really disappointed because I did like that horse, but he's off the trail now, and rightfully so after that performance. The Wood Memorial, just wasn't a great field. Let's be honest. It just wasn't. I think you have to downgrade Hit Show after that one because with a lot of, with 2 maidens in the race and a lot of horses who were subpar, he really should have won that race pretty handily if he was any good. And instead he had to struggle and he didn't win. Lord Miles was definitely the victor. I think he has been under the line in the weeds progressing. And if you go back and look, the Holy Bully didn't do much running, did a little better in the, it just escapes me now, I think the Louisiana Derby he ran in. And this one, he did a little better. And in fact, he won it at 59-1. So he's a son of Curlin. Maybe there's more in the offing with him. We'll just have to see. It's that kind of year that it's hard to discount a lot of horses. But I don't really like the Wood Memorial very much as a race. And a Hit Show I'm really down on now. And maybe Lord Miles might get a look if he continues to progress and train well. So it was kind of a crystallization of the kind of year that we've had for the Derby preps, and we've had some questions answered along the way, but there's still a lot to remain, and we'll just have to see how things go. Maybe the Lexington will give us another one to think about. I don't know. So that's the Derby preps, and I hope our insight on some of them was helpful to you, and that you cash some tickets. We will have videos coming up this week of the Keeneland Card Series. We will start with Wednesday's card, and we will move forward. Every day that Keeneland runs a race, we will have a posting of a betting opportunity for you to look at. Of course, if you do like what you see here, please like and subscribe. And we do thank you for your viewership as always. And be on the lookout for more because there's going to be a lot more coming, and I'll talk to you soon.